Netflix, I owe you an apology. Just when I thought you couldn't get environmental documentaries or environmental shows right, you proved me wrong. You come out with SeaSpiracy a couple of years ago, horrible. Misinformation all over the place, makes scientists' job tougher and ocean conservationists' job tougher. Then last week you come out with the Shark Whisperer. Ocean Ramsey, a bunch of misleading information, showing shark harassment, not the best. Getting a little better, maybe not. And then Friday, July 4th, you come out with one of the best shows that I have ever seen about sharks. It's not just about one shark, it's about all of the sharks, and it's amazing. I loved this show, and I highly recommend that you watch it. And I'm going to tell you why in this episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. Let's start the show. Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I am your host, Andrew Lewin, and this is the podcast where you find out what's happening with the ocean, how you can speak up for the ocean, and what you can do to live for a better ocean by taking action. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about something that I am very happy to talk about. Last week, I went on a rant and did a review about the Ocean Ramsey Shark Whisperer show on Netflix, documentary on Netflix. It wasn't great, and it kind of consumed me, and I was like, man, it would just be great if Netflix or any of the streaming services came out with really great documentaries. Now, with that said, Nat Geo and the Shark Fest has some pretty good shows. Shark Week, less so, but has some pretty good shows. So I don't want to knock the entire, media industry about this. They have to play up to the controversial things. And Ocean Ramsey and Shark Whisperer, it's controversy. It got people talking. It got into the top 10, but I didn't like it. A lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people got criticized for not liking it. A lot of people got criticized for liking it. It's kind of like black and white, not really a lot of gray zone. Some things I liked, some things I didn't, a lot of things I didn't, but whatever. Whatever it is. All the sharks, though. All of the sharks. It's exciting for me. All of the shark. It's a game show, right? You get points, you get a prize, you win. There are 4 teams. These teams are made up of scientists, ocean conservationists, scuba divers, journalists, and science communicators. What? Are you serious? It's amazing. It is made up of people who enjoy sharks, who enjoy the environment, who enjoy diving, and who bring in great content. It was 6 episodes. I binge watched 6 episodes one night. It was done. I was happy. And I want to talk about it because, like I said before, after talking about the Shark Whisperer, I want Netflix to get it right. I want Netflix to put up shows that are really good for sharks, that are really good for ocean science, that are really good for ocean conservation, that will inspire people to be amazed by what is out there in the ocean without fearing the ocean. And that's what we saw in All the Sharks. So here's the premise, okay? Before that, just a quick jump in. If you get inspired by this and you want to know how to protect sharks and how to protect the ocean, not only do I want you to subscribe to the show or follow this show, but I want you to sign up and join the Undertow. Because the Undertow is a place where we're going to build this ocean community. We're going to talk about the ocean. We're going to talk about shows like that in more detail. And we're going to interact with each other virtually, through video, through audio. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to find out and guide you on how to protect the ocean through the Undertow. So go to speakupforblue.com/join the Undertow to join the Undertow. Simple as that. Here's the premise of the show. Okay. You have a host who's hosting 4 teams. They all have names. We're going to go through the names and we're going to go through who they are. And the whole premise of the show is to get as many pictures of sharks and as many species of sharks as possible, accrue a number of points, and the people at the end of the show who have the most points get first, second, third, fourth. Later on in the episodes, some teams get eliminated, and then you have the final episodes with 2 teams, and they go for the gold. They go for the winner. And it's awesome because these people that are on the teams are scientists. They are young graduate students. They are from all over the world. They are divers. They are photographers. They are journalists. They are science communicators, and they all love the ocean. And I think at one point we talk about a shark bite because someone in the past in this episode got bit by a shark, spoiler alert, but went back and faced her fear over the same type of sharks, knowing that she was going to be okay, but still faced her fear. And that is a genuine fear after you get bit by a shark. I've never had that, thank God, knock on wood. Hopefully it never happens, but that is scary. And when you have to go back into the water to do something and you overcome it, you have overcome so much. And I admire the person who did that. Look, this is a show that I think scientists and ocean conservationists have been waiting for a long time. And we finally got it. It was entertaining. It wasn't supposed to be that entertaining. When we first watched it, I even saw some reviews. People were like, I didn't think it was going to be scientists. It's going to be pictures. Like, who cares about finding pictures? Because I think what a lot of people thought is going to be, oh, tiger sharks, bull sharks, great white sharks, you know, all the major sharks. No. These were like stingrays, manta rays, guitarfish, wedgefish, hound sharks, you know, all the lemon sharks. You know, we did see some bull sharks. We did see some tigers. There was maybe a thought of great white, but nobody saw a great white because they're in without a cage and they didn't want to see a great white. Each episode was in a different place. I think they went to the Maldives first. Then they went to the Great Barrier Reef in Australia. Then they went to Japan. Then they went to South Africa. Then they went to Bimini in Bahamas. And then they went to the Galapagos, which is like the home of the theory of evolution, the home of Darwin, and the home of a plethora of sharks and an abundance of species and individuals. It was unbelievable. The videography and cinematography of this show was like no other. Okay, you saw each color of each level of depth that they went to. You saw reefs, beautiful reefs. You saw wobbegong sharks and how camouflaged they were within the crustaceous algae, like the red algae that they were actually, you know, they looked red and beige, like they looked like sand, but they also looked like the algae. It was really difficult to see. You kind of had to like find it just like these biologists, just like these divers, like these contestants. It was amazing. Then you have the entertainment factor. Okay, you have the host, Tom the Blowfish Herd. He's a marine biologist with a bit of a flair. He's a heavy metal enthusiast, braided beard. He's got like his beard was in like different styles every time. He's a Shark Week contributor and he's the series host. He was amazing. He was so much fun to watch. He even went diving. I don't want to spoil too much, but there was a point where the divers were like, well, this could be a little dangerous. There's a big current. So he went to test it out. He goes, yeah, you know what? I actually don't like this. Let's make it safer for the divers and let's go somewhere else. That's pretty cool. Because usually in the reality shows like these type of contests, you're like, oh my gosh, like these people can die, but that's what makes it more interesting for the viewer. No. Tom was like, the Blowfish was like, no, you know what? Let's take it back a sec. We want to find sharks. We want people to make sure that they have enough time to find sharks. They can go in. Here's the premise. You're probably like, well, just take pictures. They can be in the water all the time, unlimited air. You have 8 hours in each place, and you have a total of 4 tanks of air. So if you're an air pig, you're gone. If you're in too deep, you go through like double your air, or maybe 4 times the amount of your air. So you only have like 15 minutes at the bottom. You can't find enough sharks in 15 minutes, right? So you had to like pick which way you're going to go. You went to different places where they saw sharks. So like the first place, the Maldives. If you take a photo of a tiger shark, which you think, oh, it's a big shark, it's scary, it's that, it's only 3 points. If you saw like a white tip shark, 1 point. If you saw a thresher shark, which is rare in that area, 75 points. You see the difference now. So the risk versus reward, you know, really comes into play. So it's pretty cool in the strategies that each team took. Some worked out, some didn't work out. It was really interesting where they're diving into these places where they've probably never gone diving before. Some had experience, some didn't. And then you don't know the sites, you don't know the currents, you don't know what's down there, you don't know where to go. It's a really interesting and challenging game. It's not an easy game. Then you got to take a picture. You got to get close enough where you can actually take a picture so they can identify the shark in the picture. Pretty damn cool. From like, I geeked out. I was actually excited. Like, I have to admit, I was watching it. My daughter was having friends over and they're like, hey, Andrew, what are you watching? And I'm like, this is the best show ever. I was like telling them all, like, you got to watch this. You got to see it. I was texting friends who have kids who are into marine biology stuff. And I'm like, you have to show this. You know, like all of this stuff was going on. I'm like, this is amazing. Now, to go to the team names, which is kind of cool. You had Land Sharks, which was Randy Thomas and Rosie Moore. Rosie Moore is a communicator and geoscientist. Randy is a wildlife biologist. These two are from the U.S. You have Gills Gone Wild. Love the pun. And that's with MJ Alguera and Aaliyah Banchik, who's a friend of the podcast. She was on the podcast promoting the Finstitute with her co-founder. And so she's on it. So I know her, which is even more invested in this. So that was the team I was going for. Gills Gone Wild, MJ and Aaliyah. MJ is a spearfisher and diver. And Aaliyah is a science communicator, marine biologist, videographer, and photographer extraordinaire, underwater, phenomenal social media. If you haven't checked it out, check out her accounts. And then you have the Shark Docs, which are two doctors, PhD people, scientists. Brendan Tolwer, who's a marine biologist. They're both marine biologists in conservation science. And Chris Malinowski. Both of them have been friends for a long time. They work well together, and they're marine biologists and conservation scientists. So, they had that extra little thing. Same with all the people like Randy and Aaliyah, who were able to kind of know a little bit about sharks. Leah, we'll talk about in a sec, because she's a stingray biologist, which is a shark as well, like in the shark family. And then you got the Great British Bait Off. Come on with the puns. I love it. This was Dan Abbott and Sarah Roberts. Dan is an underwater cameraman, and Sarah is an environmental journalist. They're from the UK. Brendan and Chris, I believe, are from the US. MJ, I don't know exactly where she's from. Aaliyah is from the US, but MJ is not from the US, I don't believe. I think she's from somewhere else, and I don't remember where it is. But she did have a slight accent, not you're American or Canadian or British or anything like that. So I apologize, I don't remember exactly where she's from. However, they were awesome. They were the team I was going for. And like I said, the amount of science that was going on, like to be able to dive into the water and be able to know where to find these sharks. The amount of science and conservation that was going on, it was like, okay, so I know that we are on the edge of a reef and it's going to drop off. This is where the bigger sharks are going to be. Or, oh, look, there's an overhang in this reef. This is where some of the wobbegong sharks going to be in the Great Barrier Reef. Or this is where you're going to see some of the hound sharks in this reef intertwined or something like that. There were all these different sign things going on, and you're like, oh, that's kind of cool. Like, you have to know. It adds to the challenge of if you know where these animals are going to be, then that's awesome. And then we're in the, Great Barrier Reef. Aaliyah goes to an old site. Gills Gone Wild goes to an old site, says, hey, you know what? Like, I think I know this site. I've been here before. I think we can find something. Just so happens the tide was going out or going in. I don't remember. I think it was going out. Didn't find anything. Visibility was bad. So she decided at the end, both the team decided, you know what? Let's go along the coastline at night, because they were going to go at night for this one. And let's just go into the sand and let's get as many stingrays as possible, because they are all the sharks. Remember, we're looking at all the sharks, not tigers, great whites, and things. We're looking at flat sharks, stingrays, guitarfish, all this stuff. They're snapping pictures while just walking along the shore in maybe about 3 or 4 feet of water, putting their camera under and snap, 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 snap. So 4 or 5 points, 10 points, all these. They get eagle rays, they get spotted rays. It is phenomenal. And the amount of points they get is ridiculous. So it ends up helping them out in the end. It's just the knowledge. I believe it was Sarah Roberts from the Great British Bait Off. Come on, the puns. This is so much fun. And they're in Bimini. She did I think it was an internship or an externship in Bimini when she was younger. This is where she got bitten, but she knew where to go. She knew where to find all these rare sharks and stuff like that. And they found 3 or 4 rare sharks. I forget the name of the shark, but the amount of different species of sharks that you see in this episode, unbelievable. I didn't even know some of these sharks existed. And I've been learning a lot of sharks being on Beyond Sharks and doing the podcast with my co-host, the Lost Shark Guy, Dr. David Ebert. I was texting him furiously. I'm like, they got hound sharks. They got hound sharks in here. And he's like, oh yeah, I've been there. I've seen those, this and that. It's so much fun. And I highly recommend it. And the reason why I loved it so much as I thought about it, as I'm going through, not once were you ever afraid for the divers. There were some times where the divers would kind of panic a little bit. It's they're alone and it's just the way things happen. And they're like, oh my God, I'm a little freaked out. Because they're by themselves. They're in the ocean. They know there's going to be sharks. And so they're worried of what shark's going to show up. So there was a little bit of that, but there was never really a time where you thought these divers were in trouble. There was never a time where they kind of freaked out, and sometimes they were a little bit scared here and there, mostly when they were by themselves. And as somebody who scuba divers, not frequently, but sometimes, you don't want to lose your partner. You always want to have someone down there if you're losing air or, God forbid, anything can happen down there, right? you do always want to have your partner. So you always feel more comfortable with the partner. And those are really the times where you saw them like kind of getting a little worried and stuff. But anytime a shark comes by, like they were very careful. They knew what to do and what not to do. And that was great. And you saw that in them. And, you know, they're saying, okay, bull sharks are coming by. Let's stick to the pier. You know, so our backs are to the pier. So we have like a full, you know, 180 around and we can see everything. And, you know, the bull sharks didn't really bother them. And, you know, the one time they had to like just kind of poke it away to kind of guide it away, but most of the time stayed out of the way. They didn't go riding a shark. They didn't go trying touching a shark. All they had to do was get photos. They just had to come within a certain amount of meters and their telelens would get photos. You know, it's crazy to think. Just imagine you can do a show about sharks and not talk about how vicious they are, not talk about how they're monsters, but to be able to reiterate that flat sharks are sharks too. Aaliyah did that almost every single episode. I loved it. The representation of the different species of sharks was phenomenal. And speaking of Aaliyah, we're lining up an interview, I believe tomorrow as I'm recording this. I'm recording this on the Monday. We're going to interview Aaliyah tomorrow about her experience on the show, and we're going to put it on the Beyond Jaws podcast. We thought that was fitting because of the shark sort of theme. So we're going to put on the Beyond Jaws. I'll let you know in our newsletter when it comes out. But just watch these channels and you'll figure it out. It's awesome. The show is awesome. I love it. I give it 10 out of 10. I didn't have one problem with it. They did do chumming in some ways, and that, you know, you kind of wonder what they do, but they know what they're doing. You know, they know, like, it's not like a crazy chum. They know what they're doing. For this game show, I think it made sense, but a lot of people didn't want to, and you saw that. And so it was kind of interesting to see that dynamic. So if you've watched it, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below if you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, just the audio, let me know. Go to @SpeakUpForBlue on Instagram, DM me, or you can go to speakupforblue.com/contact and then just fill out the form and it'll go right to my email. Love to hear from you. I'd love to hear this. I want you to watch this. It's very important that we just flood Netflix. Whatever country you're from, if you get Netflix, flood it. It's worth the free trial just to flood Netflix and to watch this, because this is how you do a show that's educational, entertaining, and good for conservation and good for the reputation of sharks. Shows off some great biology, great conservation, and just enthusiastic people with some great puns. I just love it. So if you are into this kind of stuff, watch it, flood Netflix for it, tell them how much you love it. There's a way you can review it, you know, show it. Like, we have to show that this is great. We want Netflix to be able to produce and show more of these produced shows. Apparently there's rumor that they are shooting another season. Let's just keep it going. Let's just keep doing it. I think it's wonderful. I'd love to see the love to be put out there. So watch that. Not Shark Whisperer. Watch this. All the sharks. You want to see one shark? You see all the sharks. And it's awesome. Anyway, that's it for today's episode. Love to hear what you think. How to Protect the Ocean on Instagram. If you want to hit me up, speakupforblue.com/contact. And don't forget to join the Undertow, speakupforblue.com/join the Undertow. I want to thank you so much for not only watching these shows and watching the podcast and my reviews. I want to thank you so much for joining the community, getting involved, commenting. Let's build this community. Let's have some fun with it. This has been another wonderful episode of the How to Protect the Ocean podcast. I'm your host, Andrew Lewin from the True North Strong and Free. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time, and happy conservation.